I finished top 64 in recent regionals tournament hosted by NoHeroes in Krefeld. I went 7-2, which resulted with 55th place. If you are here only for the deck list, here you go. You can just copy paste credit for the list to Team Sifu King Patreon. But if you want to listen a little bit more about the tournament and the list itself, I welcome you in summary of the Krefeld regionals. Because it's a new season, we have new participation rewards. Each participant received 2 offline regional participation packs 2024 volume 1. From my packs I opened Brenu and Sanji. Additionally, 2 event pack volume 3. In my packs I opened Yamato and Low. And the last participation prize was Dawn card Gear 5, also known as Nikadon. They replace Golden Dawns for now. For top 256 players, we received One Piece card game sleeves, Monkey D. Luffy, 10 pieces. Then for top 128 the reward was one more Nikadon, and for my achievement for top 64 the additional rewards were 4 event packs volume 3. I opened 2 times Chibi Zoro, a little bit late in our region, but what can we do, and 2 times Monet. And the most important reward for top 64 was obviously used as Captain Kid card. This time the cards don't have any stamp that they are like championship cards, like the cards we had in previous season. Now we have season 2024 and we don't have any additional markings on the card. Obviously we see the holographic stamp and another one next to the edge. Card is beautiful and amazing in person. And that's it for the rewards. I'm quite happy with them, especially that I managed to top 64, so the reward card is always nice for the display or for the monetary value if I decide to sell them later in the future. As I already mentioned, I played Sakazuki because I think it's still the best leader in meta. Currently we have 2 Sakazuki builds, one that is more traditional one, and I played this one, and the other one played mostly by the K2 team on this tournament, and it's stage Saka variant that focus more on bottom decking the pieces of your opponent, so great for the mirrors or any decks that require the pieces in trash to function properly. But because I played the traditional one, I will show you my deck list today. As you already know, I went 7-2. It was not enough for the top cut because my tiebreakers were not the best, but still for a casual player I think it's a great performance. Here short shout out to K2 Roberto for a great training session that I had before Krefeld with him, and he actually allowed me to post the training session after the tournament, so I will share it with you once I'm finished with editing it, so stay tuned this week or maybe next week to see how coaching looks with one of the best players in Europe. And now for the list, let's start with the new cards. Boogeyman of the format, Gecko Moria. I think all the black decks play this card, 4 copies, and the meta resolves around this card. So no question here, 4 copies. For 8 Dawn, you get 9000 body on board, and in addition you can cheat out 4 cost and 2 cost to your board as well if you have them in trash. Amazing, amazing value just with 1 card. Another new addition to the deck is Tashigi Searcher, and this card feels like it's custom made just for the Sakazuki decks. It's in blue color, allows you to search for one navy type other than Tashigi, and it can be Navi type card, so event, stage, you name it, you pick it, no complaints. In total, Saka now has 8 searchers, so consistency is through the roof, and as we already know, Sakazuki love playing the Houndblaze that can buff Tashigi for a 5k attacker. So we can actually cosplay Roronoa Zoro as Sakazuki player and put some early pressure with 5k swings or 6k swings with Brenu. And the last new card from OP-06 that was included is Ama no Murakumo Sword. Basically cheaper Lucci We don't develop the board, effect is the same as Lucci, but it's only 2 cost. So we don't develop a body, but we can play it much cheaper, especially on our tendon turn. Only 1 copy played. The stage version focus more on this card as they want to utilize this card a lot. In our version, it's just a backup plan when we need to bottom deck something and we don't really want to spend Lucci on it, or we don't have enough Dawn to hit Lucci in our turn. Now let's talk about some small changes from the OP-05 variant of a deck. Here we have 2 cost Helmepo, give up to one of your opponent's characters -3 cost during this turn, and this card is in a deck just because of 8 cost Moria. We can bring from trash Helmepo and Lucci together, and then we have -3 on one of opponent's characters. Very strong combo, especially if we throw in a mix on a higher Dawn turns cards like Great Eruption or Ice Age, then we can clear basically everything and still develop the board. So the combo is we play Gecko Moria, we bring back Lucci and Helmepo. Helmepo played rested, Lucci standing. First we use the effect from the Helmepo and then removing 2 opponents' cards with Lucci's effect. The most basic combo that you will currently see in either Sakazuki or Gecko Moria lists. And now something more defensive. It's 4 copies of Vergo, and the purple man is only for the 2k counter. I don't remember any game that I would play him from hand, as it's not really efficient. And why are we playing him as 2k counter? Because we are playing Tashigi Searcher, so Tashigi Searcher cannot search for Tashigi, and in the previous iteration of a deck we had 4 copies of 2k counter Tashigi, but now we need some other searchable counter, and it's unfortunately only Vergo. It will change in the future for the T-Bone, but for this expansion we have Vergo. 4 copies as we play 8 copies of 2k counters. This ratio didn't change. So the remaining 2k counters slots are 4 copies of Tsuru, nothing new here. In total 8 copies of 2k counters and also Reducer if needed. What is really cool, if we are missing Helmepo in trash, we can always bring Tsuru back with our Gecko Moria if we need this additional -2 cost reduction on our Gecko Moria Lucci turn. And as already mentioned, 4 copies of Brand-New. Consistency is a key in trading card games, and with 4 Brand-New searchers, 4 Tashigi searchers, we will find all the needed pieces in every game. 4 copies, no question. Then our old combo, Rebecca, Hina, Lucci, only 3 copies of each. Reason being, we needed space for some more important cards for consistency, and even with just 3 Rebeccas, 3 Luccis, we can find them easily. With 8 searchers, we can filter through our deck, and with leader ability, we can get them quite easily in hand. Some lists play additional Rebecca and additional Lucci when you feel that you need that much more of those cards in your games. Then we have another classic, the Admirals, actually only Kuzan and Borsalino, the big one and the small one. Kuzan, amazing card, played on curve basically in any matchup, that much more important against bigger threats like any green deck or yellow, brings a lot of value if left unanswered. Borsalino blocker, one of the most important cards in matchups where KO effects are present, so popular now, Gecko Moria leader. When we set up the Borsalino, we kind of have already an unremovable threat on board. And the last card, 7 cost Borsalino, beautiful removal on curve if we are forced to go first or we are playing the matchups where we want to go first. 7 cost Borsalino on curve clears everything, and what is also very important about Borsalino on curve, that it's not possible to remove him with 8 cost Gecko Moria. Your opponent needs to make a decision if they want to play maybe value Moria, like developing Moria Kuzan and some other card, maybe a searcher, or if they want to try and remove your Borsalino 7 cost. Also nothing changed for the Sabo, 2 copies of Sabo to make our yellow matchup easier, but also any matchup where KO is present. Sabo puts a lot of work if you are able to develop your board and then lock it with Sabo. Most likely the latest in the next 2 turns you win the game, but most of the time the next turn is the turn to push for lethal. MVP in yellow matchup because of being a 5 cost that cannot be rested by Amaru, and also very cool card to play against Yamato, because the only answer Yamato has to this card is playing Hody Jones, and if they play Hody Jones to rest Sabo and you are able to defend yourself, then the next turn most likely you are threatening lethal to the Yamato player. And also nothing crazy for the events. We have 4 copies of Great Eruption, 4 copies of Houndblaze and 2 copies of Ice Age, so our usual package. Houndblaze and Great Eruption I would not consider cutting. I know some players play 3 Great Eruptions to fit maybe 1 more Rebecca or Lucci, but for me this card is great and it's banned in OP-07 for a reason. And then 2 Ice Age cards, very important in a meta where we have Gecko Moria, because we can always answer our opponent's Moria with our Gecko Moria if we have Ice Age in hand and combo it with Lucci and Helmeppo. Now for the event itself, I think it was run very smoothly by NoHeroes. We are playing already on a new rule set with shorter game time, so each game was 30 minutes as opposed to 35 minutes from the previous season. And here is the small problem that I don't really know how Bandai can address properly, because slow play might be kind of abuse in a game. In a tournament where you have more than 500 players, it's not really possible for each table to be checked and calling a judge in the meantime, wasting time. I think it's not the best solution, but also we don't have any other. And in a meta where we have the decks like Sakazuki that takes multiple actions per turn, like Reiju, that also some players were taking their time. Even in the early turns, I'm not sure how much relevant it is to think that long in the early turns. But overall, from my experience, my opponents were very good. Everyone behaved friendly. We had no problems. Even when I did one huge mistake, I was playing Tashigi into Brainulator, and because we were already close to time, I was trying to do it as fast as possible, and I drew 5 cards from the Brainu, which is obviously not allowed, but we fixed the board state in a way that was okay for both of us and proceed with the game. So thank you for being communicative here, and that we solve any problems without any unnecessary drama. And as we saw also on stream, unfortunately, there were mixed opinions about the judges in this event, so let's leave it at this. But the event was really fast. Overtime was expected, all the results reported shortly in Limitless app or website, so no issues here. We played 9 rounds instead of first planned 10, because unfortunately in the 9th round we had 3 undefeated players, and one of the undefeated players played the down pair and they lost the game. So it means we already had undefeated player after the 9 rounds instead of 10. So here, big shout out to NoHeroes team for running everything so smoothly. There was also a parking lot next to the location, next to the event hall, and even if it was occupied, there were more parking lots nearby without any additional fees. So a very good location in Krefeld for the big event like that, and run very smoothly. The one thing that I noticed, some of the tables that we played were really narrow, like too many places next to each other planned, or maybe people were moving around the numbers, I'm not sure, but sometimes we had to communicate to make more space in a table because of the players taking too much space themselves. Not a big issue, but maybe something to work on. And another one that I'm not sure what was the reason, but some of the tables had not enough light, in my opinion, was a little bit dark. Obviously, event area was more like the area that you have for events like wedding or whatever. So it was most of the time the warm light. But also I feel like not all the tables were placed in the well-lit area. Let me know in the comments if you were in Krefeld and noticed some stuff like that, then we can have some discussion in the comments or other opinions, because obviously I was not the only player playing there. It was 768 players event. One shout out also, I spoke shortly with one of the viewers. Even though this channel is strictly casual and not really targeted at the big public, it's really nice to meet someone that watch at least one video and just say hi. I was already so stressed because I had 2 losses, I think, that I didn't even ask for the name, so I'm sorry for that, but I was not expecting anyone to comment, say hi. So thank you for that, and I hope that your friend placed also highly in his run. Other than that, today's event. So first day I was as a player, no complaints here. I was early home, received my rewards and drove back. I didn't participate in any side events, but I know there were a lot of them. Second day I was watching the stream. The only hiccup that was noticeable was with some questionable judges sleeping during the stream for some actions. But other than that, ran very nicely. Amazing interviews from Abrar, from NoHeroes, with each participant, with the winner, with the loser. Some funny parts in between as well. So no compliance here. Was enjoyable. And obviously event was in Germany, so the internet had some problems, I think yesterday as well, I don't know, because I didn't watch the stream, so the weather was not on our side. So here is an excuse. I think this is not something that we should complain on the organizers. I'm not really that tech or engineer, but I don't really think there was something that they could have done better in advance. And in the end, huge congrats to all the players in top 32. Amazing matches. It was huge pleasure to watch the best players in the region compete in the first big tournament in OP-06. I learned a lot from the stream games, and obviously congratulations to the winner Giovanni from K2 team. Amazing performance, beautiful deck list with Sakazuki stage, something to be wary of. But for the new players, a word of advice: be really careful when you are using the list from the big tournament, because even if the list looks good and it wins because the player is good. List is important, but the deck is just a tool. If you are not comfortable with a deck, if you don't think that it works in your hand, don't force yourself to play certain deck, certain build, just because it wins, because pilot is as important, if not more important, than the deck list. And we have kind of confirmation of that, because in Top Cut we had a red purple low player. So even though everyone says yes, red purple low is dead in OP-06 before EB01 and OP-07, he proved that if you take the comfortable deck, if you are prepared for your matchups and have a little bit of luck dodging all the Sakazuki players that can ruin your day, you can finish in the Top Cut. But now it's the time for you. Let me know in the comments if you were in the Krefeld Regional, what is your opinion about the event? Which deck did you play? Maybe some interesting decks you noticed, some interesting matchups, or maybe you just watch the stream from NoHeroes team. Let me know in the comments. I will see you in the next video that will most likely be my training session with Roberto, so stay tuned. Bye bye.